Finance Committee, Tuesday, June 20th, 2023 edition. I'm going to read through all the items on consent. There's quite a few of them, so everybody can sit back and relax for a minute while I start reading through the consent items. If anything needs to be pulled, you may on the committee, just raise your hand, we'll pull them. All right, here we go. 2023-2199, Roten, Benedict, and Hurt adopts an annual salary increase for general officers and sheriffs of the Metropolitan Government. 2023-2245, Roten and Welsh approves a grant from the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services to the Davidson County General Sessions Court for the provision of the Tennessee Certified Recovery Court Program to incorporate intensive judicial supervision, treatment services, sanctions, and incentives to address the needs of nonviolent offenders with substance use and/or co-occurring disorders. 2023-2246, Roten authorizes the adoption of rules, regulations, and forms to be used by the Metropolitan Government in the collection of privilege tax at the National Museum of African American Music. 2023-2247, Roten and Bradford appropriates. Apologize, that's not on consent. 2023-2248, Roten, Withers, Toombs, and others declares surplus and approves the disposition of certain parcels of real property in accordance with Section 2.24.050G of the Metropolitan Code. 2023-2249, Toombs, Hauser, Roten, and others declares surplus and authorizes the conveyance of real property to certain nonprofit organizations and authorizes grants not exceeding $3 million from the Barnes Fund for affordable housing to Awake Nashville, Inc. for the express purpose of constructing affordable or workforce housing for older adults. 2023-2250, Hauser, Roten, Withers, and others declares surplus and authorizes the conveyance of real property to certain nonprofit organizations and authorizes grants not exceeding $634,000 from the Barnes Fund for affordable housing to certain nonprofit organizations selected for the express purpose of constructing affordable or workforce housing. 2023-2251, Hauser, Roten, and Welsh authorizes grants not exceeding $9,647,269 from the Barnes Fund for affordable housing to certain nonprofit organizations selected for the express purpose of constructing and rehabilitating affordable or workforce housing. 2023-2252, Roten, Withers, and Allen approves an interlocal agreement between the Metropolitan Government and the Health and Educational Facilities Board for administrative, financial, and legal services for the Mixed Income Pilot Program. 2023-2253, Toombs, Roten, Syracuse, and Welsh approves an application for a grant from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to the Department of General Services to fund the construction of the third floor at 1354 Brick Church Pike for the Future Nashville Assessment Center to provide therapeutic pre-charge diversion services to address low-level misdemeanor and youth offenses. 2023-2254, Roten, Syracuse, and Welsh approves a grant contract between the Metropolitan Board of Health and Meharry Medical College to train college students as peer health educators to create service-oriented resources to impact COVID-19 disparities and related social determinants of health. 2023-2252, Roten, Syracuse, and Welsh approves a limited revocable license agreement between the Metropolitan Board of Health and Coseca Community Development to create, operate, and maintain a community garden on the west side of the Woodbine Clinic to utilize Metro property that is underutilized or unused. 2023-2256, Roten, Syracuse approves a contract between the Metropolitan Board of Health and Western Governors University to provide clinical experience opportunities for its students. 2023-2257, Roten, Syracuse, Welsh approves Amendment 1 to a grant from the Tennessee Department of Health to the Metropolitan Board of Health to use available data to identify populations at risk for adverse consequences from substance abuse and employ evidence-based interventions that are responsive to population needs. 2023-2258, Roten, Syracuse, Welsh, and Allen approves Amendment 2 to a grant from A Step Ahead Foundation of Middle Tennessee, Inc. to the Metropolitan Board of Health to provide reimbursement for certain costs associated with providing long-acting reversible contraception. 2023-2259, Roten, Syracuse, and Welsh approves Amendment 8 to a grant from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency to the Metropolitan Board of Health for the ongoing collection of data on ambient air concentrations for fine particulate matter in Nashville, Tennessee. 2023-2260, Taylor and Roten approves a grant from the Centennial Park Conservancy to the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation to provide funding for one-time position in the Parthenon Museum store. 2023-2261, Taylor and Roten approves an in-kind grant from the Nashville Youth Hockey League Incorporated to the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation to fund the purchase and installation of up to 20 door wrap graphics for the locker room and other doors on rinks A and B of Centennial Sportsplex. 2023-2262, Roten approves a grant from the Friends of Winter Parks, the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation to continue funding staff positions and copier cost. 2023-2263, Roten approves grants from the Friends of Winter Parks to Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation to provide seasonal staffing for the Special Work Education and Trails Program at Warner Parks. 2023-2264, Lee and Roten approves an in-kind grant from the Joe C. Davis Foundation and the Friends of Mill Ridge Park to the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation for planning study to determine the scope of work for Phase 2 of the Mill Ridge Park Master Plan. 2023-2265, Roten, Welsh, and Allen approves an in-kind grant from the Greenways for Nashville to the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation to raise funds for improvements to 30 Greenway trailhead and signage sites on the Cumberland River, Mill Creek, Richland Creek, and 7 Mile Green Creek Greenways. 2023-2266, Roten and Syracuse approves a Homeland Security grant from the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency to the Metropolitan Office of Emergency Management to implement state Homeland Security strategies by addressing the identified planning, equipment, training, and exercise needs required to prevent, respond to, and recover from acts of terrorism. 2023-2267, Roten and Syracuse approves a grant from the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency to the Metropolitan Office of Emergency Management to provide resources for hazardous material preparedness. 2023-2268, Roten, Syracuse, and Allen approves the Violent Crime Intervention Fund grant from the Tennessee Department of Finance and Administration, Office of Criminal Justice Programs to the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department to provide support to local law enforcement in developing and implementing evidence-based strategies to combat violent crime. 2023-2269, Roten authorizes the Metropolitan Department of Law to compromise and settle the claim of Tracy Evans as surviving spouse and next of kin of James Evans, deceased, against the Metropolitan Government in the amount of $150,000, with said amount to be paid from the Self-Insured Liability Fund. 2023-2270, Roten and Pulley approves an application for a Regional Infrastructure Accelerator Program grant for the Tennessee Department of Transportation to the Nashville Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure to develop and coordinate project staging and financing for the multitude of transportation and related infrastructure projects and development that impact the Middle Tennessee region. 2273-2271, Taylor, Roten, Withers, and others approves Amendment 5 to an agreement between the Tennessee Department of Transportation and the Nashville Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure for improvements on Jefferson Street. 2023-2272, Roten authorizes the Metropolitan Department of Law to compromise and settle the personal injury claim of Bernie Cox against the Metropolitan Government in the amount of $80,000, with said amount to be paid out of the Self-Insured Liability Fund. 2023-2273, Roten and Pulley accepts the terms of a cooperative purchasing master agreement for Rising Connect Fleet Management Technologies with related software solutions. 2023-2274, Rutherford, Roten, Withers, and Pulley approves supplement number 1 to an intergovernmental agreement between the Tennessee Department of Transportation and the Department of Water and Sewerage Services for construction of North Mill Creek to near SR 254. 2023-2275, Rutherford, Roten, Withers, and Pulley approves supplement number 1 to an intergovernmental agreement between the Tennessee Department of Transportation and the Metropolitan Department of Water and Sewerage Services for construction from North Mill Creek to near SR 254. 2023-2276, Roberts, Murphy, Roten, and Pulley approves an agreement between the United States Department of the Army and the Metropolitan Department of Water and Sewerage Services to provide relocation assistance for the Richland Creek Flood Risk Management Project. We have a letter from the sponsor on that one. 2023-2277, Roten and Pulley authorizes the Metropolitan Government to enter into an agreement with the Madison Suburban Utility District for reading and maintaining water consumption meters and disconnecting water services. Those are all the items on the consent calendar. Seeing no hands, can I get a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Mendez, you're recognized.
Did you have BL 2023-1896 on consent?
This was just resolutions.
Oh. Nothing then.
Councilmember Allen, you're recognized.
Thank you. I just have a question on RS 2023-2248.
You're recognized. Oh, Councilmember Allen, you recognize.
Can I just ask them now?
Yeah.
Out of order. There were a couple of I always do this when we do surplus property, just to look at them and see if they couldn't possibly be used for Barnes Fund, and there's usually somebody that comes back and tells me why. So there were two that I had questions about. One is it's adjacent to two lots that already have houses on them, and it's the same size, 45 Fairfield in District 19. And maybe if I can get those answered before we're done. And then also 421 Woodfolk in District 2 is adjacent to two lots that are owned by Be a Helping Hand, who does Barnes Fund stuff. So is there anyone that can explain why we need to
Angie.
sell those?
Angie, do you want to come up and? Yep.
Would you like those addresses again?
Please introduce yourself. You're recognized.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Angie Hubbard, Housing Director with Metro Planning. Council lady, I don't have that list in front of me. I know that we've looked at it a couple of times. Ashley Brown did, and I did as well. At the minimum lot size is usually why we move ahead with letting public property know that these are not really buildable because they don't meet those standards.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Councilmember Allen. Is there anything else that needs to be pulled from consent? Oh, Councilmember Syracuse, you recognize.
Thank you, Chair. RS 2023-2255 needs to come on.
Councilmember Hurt, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to pull 2271, please.
Mm-hmm. All right, seeing no other hands, going back to the items on consent, items in resolutions that are not on consent. Oh, sorry, I got to take a vote on the consent. My apologies. Got moved on consent, properly seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? You approve. 15 in favor, 0 against. We're down to item number 7. This is an item that's also that's added in the budget. This is something that's going to help get some funding to the school system a little bit quicker, but I'll read it real quick. 2023-2247 Roten and Bradford appropriates to certain accounts for the benefit of the Davidson County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $4,300,000. We have a late filed substitute, and I'll get a motion. So moved. Get a motion on substitute. Moved, properly seconded. And I'm going to let legal counsel explain the substitute. You're recognized, counsel.
The substitute would add $6.5 million for schools as a supplemental appropriation for the purposes of their school safety endeavors, I believe to put up safety glass and perhaps provide for radios. The idea here is that the funding will be available sooner for schools to accomplish their goals than it would be if it were included in the one-time surplus under the budget. That amount would not be available until 1/1/24.
Councilmember Johnston, you recognize.
Thank you. Is there a list of things that so is it 4.3 or is it 6 point? If the substitute passes, it's 6 point whatever, right?
This is for the substitute resolution, which is a supplemental appropriation, and it's $6.5 million.
Okay, and so with that 6.5 million, are we delineating all of the things and what they cost and what we're supposed to be doing for schools with this money?
No, this is an appropriation to schools. Schools will decide how to spend the funding.
I thought it was an appropriation to the sheriff's office.
There is an appropriation to the sheriff's office. This is in addition to that $4.5 million, $4.3 million to the sheriff's office, which would still remain. The substitute adds an appropriation, a supplemental appropriation for schools.
Okay, so 4.3 goes to the sheriff's department, 6.6 6.5 goes to schools, but we're not specifying what we want them to do with that money.
That's correct.
Can we specify what we want them to do with that money?
No, like any other appropriation to schools, we make the appropriation and the schools decides how to spend the funding. But the purpose of this funding is for the safety items that were mentioned, I believe, safety glass and radios.
Right, and there's an amendment right now, just so everybody's clear. There's an amendment that was filed by me, Councilmember Swara, Councilmember Syracuse, Councilmember Pulley, and Councilmember, I think Rosenberg was on it. I believe we were all on that because last week when they had their safety meeting here, schools was asking for the safety measures, and so this was something that everyone thought would be a good idea. And this resolution, as my understanding, is just speeding up when they can get the funding for the safety measures for the school.
So it's understood, and we have it on the record, that at least $5 million of this, because that's what they came up with for the ballistic film for the schools, that's going to be part of it, and the other 1.5, I'm assuming, is for radios, because I do understand they had some communication issues. So, okay.
Right, and I would ask Councilmember Swara or Councilmember Syracuse if they want to add anything. They were here for the meeting last week. I was not. I was just asked to be added on as a sponsor. So.
Yeah, I was here. I just want to make sure that we've made it very clear. And I know they said that they typically do what we want when we give them money, but I definitely want that to be articulated and communicated properly. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Allen, you recognize.
Thank you. And just to clarify, so this is a supplemental appropriation to the current budget, which gets it into their hands faster, which I guess ultimately sort of probably reduces what our surplus is in the long run, maybe? Or, I mean, where is this money coming from?
Administration, you recognize.
Thank you. Hello.
But not much.
It's on.
Sorry. So I don't think this is on, but I'll keep talking. With 60 days ago, everything reflected in that estimate was where we thought we were going to be. When the schools came in last week and said they need the money, immediate thought was use the surplus, it's appropriate. But then I asked my team, like, having 2 months additional revenue from when we presented the budget to now, and this being such a high use and immediate need, do we have anything else? Are we comfortable adding 6.5? And I'd like to thank my team for doing that work, and everyone's pretty comfortable that we'll be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no other hands. Oh, sorry. Councilmember Benedict, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted, I think it's been said, but I want to be specifically clear that typically when we send money to the schools, if we generally say what we'd like it to be used for, they generally follow that direction. Is that a fair assessment, I guess, Director Darby? Or Chair? I mean,
I'm an attorney, so, speculation is speculation. So I don't like to say what someone's going to do when we tell them to do something, but we would hope that they would do that. And I think everyone was here in that meeting last week. That's what was discussed. So.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Seeing no other hands, all in favor?
The substitute.
On the substitute? Any opposed? 15 in favor, 0 against on the substitute.
And you need to approve this.
Yeah. And then
Approve the resolution.
making sure there wasn't somebody else out there wanting to speak. And then all on the resolution, all in favor? Any opposed? You approve, 15 in favor, 0 against.
Are you going to take up number 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, in just a second.
Okay,
But we're going to do it after the budget.
that's fine. It's
What other ones got? Oh, it's 2255.
yeah, number 15.
We're on number 15, 2023-2255, approves limited revocable license agreement between the Metropolitan Board of Health and Coseca Community Development to create, operate, and maintain a community garden on the west side of Woodbine Clinic to utilize Metro property that is underutilized or unused. Councilmember Hunt.
Sorry, Syracuse.
Oh, Councilmember Syracuse, my apologies. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to move for an indefinite deferral at the request of the Health Department.
We have a motion for an indefinite deferral at the request of the Health Department by Councilmember Syracuse. All in favor? Any opposed? You adopt. Approve indefinite deferral. 15 in favor, 0 against. Item number 31, RS 2023-2271, Taylor Roten, Withers, and others, approves Amendment 5 to an agreement between the Tennessee Department of Transportation and the Nashville Department of Transportation Multimodal Infrastructure for improvements on Jefferson Street. Councilmember Hurt, you're recognized.
Yes, I'm just concerned with the resolution because it's got things that it seems from 2013, 2019, 2020. I mean, it seems like they're trying to combine several things into one to accomplish what they ultimately want to accomplish. And the intersections improvements were studied decades ago. So I'm a little bit concerned about the transparency and the authenticity of the intent of this legislation, and I'm just a bit concerned about it.
We have someone at the mic. Diana, you're recognized.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Diana Alarcon, Director of Transportation Multimodal Infrastructure. The dollars here are that we're receiving through TDOT. We're actually funding dollars that we got through Representative Cooper's office. It's earmarks in the IIJA that was to be used for community outreach involving Jefferson Street. We're doing this in partnership with planning, and it's being collaborated in the North Nashville master planning. So this is just getting us the dollars so we would be able to actually spend them and use them.
Well, that's my concern. Jefferson Street has been studied more than any street in this city multiple times, and the community engagement, they've got studies that came from the federal Department of Transportation that talked about Jefferson Street and the inability of it being widened and the ingress and egress and all of those things associated with it. It also there was a Jefferson Street plan that was done by the North Nashville Community Development Corporation, and just a number of plans that we can go back all the way to the 1996 that MDHA had done with Neal and Schaefer, and prior to that. So again, I am concerned about the transparency and what this is all about. So I'm just really, really concerned about it, and think that there needs to be more discussion in regards to this. And I met with the Director Arlecon a couple of weeks ago, and we didn't even talk about this, and that was surprising to me to see this as well.
So all of the prior plans that have been done will be incorporated in the overall planning as we move forward. We're not leaving anything on the table. And again, this is in collaboration between us and planning. Again, looking at a holistic view of the overall community wants and needs, and making sure that we appropriately address it through this new opportunity.
Well, see, what concerns me is that these plans are now coming to fruition, although the studies were done when the demographics of the community was completely different from what they are now. And now that the demographics have changed, now we want to improve the intersections. We want to improve all of this, but it's been put on the back burner time and time and time again. So I think that we need to look at how we equitably share in these types of things throughout the entire city, and not just focus on them when a certain demographic move into those communities, and we make sure that we provide them with a much better way of transporting and being able to get around our city. Just expressing my concerns and giving some historical perspective about it. So
Thank you.
I think it needs to be deferred indefinitely.
We have a motion for an indefinite deferral. Was that a motion, Councilmember Hurt?
It was.
We have a motion for an indefinite deferral. I don't see a second. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Noes have it. We're back on the resolution. All in favor? Any opposed?
No.
14 in favor, 1 opposed. The first 3 items, the resolutions, they all come with the budget, so we're going to do those when we do the budget. We have 3 late filed resolutions. Number 38 on our calendar, appropriating $2,938,965 from the Nashville Public Library to various nonprofit organizations for the provision of free and high-quality after-school and summer programming through the library's Nashville After Zone Alliance out-of-school time coordinating system. Councilmember Hurt, you're recognized. Councilmember Hurt. You have a late filed resolution that's up. It's on the Nashville Public Library.
Absolutely, for NASA. We definitely want to make sure that we provide our kids with other alternatives for after-school opportunities. The NASA program has been extremely successful throughout the city, and we want to make sure that we continue to support and fulfill the needs of those children with this program. So I'm asking that we are able to move forward with this legislation.
So we have a motion properly seconded. Councilmember Vice Chair Gamble, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. And I don't believe I've seen a copy of this late file, but I do want to point out that the chair's substitute includes an appropriation, an additional $633,000 to address what Councilmember Hurd is discussing. That is correct, that NASA provides summer and after-school programming, and they requested additional funding for additional slots for next year, and that is included in the chair's substitute. So I just wanted to make that point. I'm not, again, privy to what is in this late file, but that has been addressed in the substitute. Thank you.
Okay. Director Darby, you're recognized.
I believe that these grants are for this fiscal year, not next fiscal year.
And
You're recognized.
Thank you. And what is the amount that's proposed for this fiscal year?
The entire amount that's subject to this resolution is $2,938,965.
Okay, so that would be a supplemental to the 23 budget for this summer.
I don't believe it's a supplemental. I think it's the appropriation of the grant money.
Okay, so these are for the grant
approval of the
funds
grant
that have
money,
already
yes.
been
Yes.
identified. Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you, Director Darby. All right, we're on the late filed resolution. All in favor? Any opposed? You approve. 15 in favor, 0 against. Late resolution number 39 on the calendar, appropriating $501,444.80 from a certain account of the Community Safety Fund for a grant to the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee. Councilmember Syracuse, you're recognized.
Apologies, Chair. Where are we?
It's all right.
Multitasking fail.
It's a $500,000 grant from the Community Safety Fund to the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee. It's a late filed resolution.
Move approval.
We have motion to move approval, properly seconded. All in favor? Oh, I apologize. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized.
My apologies, Chair. I just wanted to know what the money was for.
Director Darby, you're recognized.
I think we might want to get someone from the administration.
You're recognized. Please say your name and who you represent.
Thank you. My name is Brianna Tillman. I'm a grants manager in the Office of Community Safety of John Mayer Cooper's office. The funds here are part of a partnership with the Community Foundation to deliver professional development services to grassroots nonprofit community organizations in order to build their organizational capacity. We do this through professional development services and access to professional audit and grant writing services as well. And so the Community Foundation will be our program manager to be able to deliver these services to the nonprofit organizations around the city.
Councilmember Toombs, you. All right, seeing no other hands, all in favor? Oh, I apologize, Councilmember Hurt, you're recognized.
I just want to stand in support of this because many of the small nonprofit organizations do not have the capacity to actually compete for grants that are coming through the Community Foundation, and I want to applaud them for recognizing the assistance that they need in order to get them together so they can actually apply for those grants and compete and make sure that they have all of the information in the order that is needed, because without them having a large budget where they can hire the adequate staff that they need in order to help them build that capacity, this is another alternative way for them to be able to do so. And I just want to stand and thank the Community Foundation for their foresight and activity of ensuring that those nonprofits can compete.
Thank you, Councilmember Hurt. Seeing no other hands, we have a motion properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You approve 15 in favor, 0 against. Last late filed resolution by Syracuse. Approves a direct appropriation grant from the Tennessee Department of Health to the Metropolitan Board of Health to implement and coordinate activities and services related to HIV/STI prevention, testing, diagnosis, treatment, and surveillance. Councilmember Syracuse, you are recognized.
Move approval.
Councilmember Syracuse moved approval, properly seconded. Seeing no hands, all in favor? Councilmember Hurt needs to abstain on this. All in favor? You approve. 14 in favor, 0 against with 1 abstention. Yep. All right. Going to bills on second reading on consent. Read through these real quick. 2023-1889 Murphy Road in Porterfield and Swara approves the lease agreement between the Metropolitan Board of Education and the Nashville State Community College. 2023-1890 Roten and Hauser adopts a 5-year consolidated plan in the 2023 Action Plan for Housing and Community Development and authorizes the Metropolitan Mayor to submit the consolidated plan and 2023 Action Plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. 2023-1895 Hauser, Roten, Withers, and Pulley authorizes the granting of a permanent utility easement to Piedmont Natural Gas Company on certain property owned by the Metropolitan Government. And last, 2023-1896, Parker, Roten, Withers, and Pulley authorizes acquisition of certain rights-of-way easements and property rights for the use by the Nashville Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure in connection with the public project described as early acquisition of right-of-way to include 6 parcels for Phase 1 north-south arterial boulevard between Spring Street and Woodland Street. Does anything need to be pulled? Seeing no hands. In a motion, apologize. 1896, Councilmember Mendez wants to pull 1896. So the other 3 is on consent. We have motion properly seconded on the consent calendar. Those on second reading, all in favor? Any opposed? We're on bill on second reading, 2023-1896, Parker, Roten, Withers, and Pulley authorizes acquisition of certain rights-of-way easements, property rights for use by the National Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure in connection with the public project described as early acquisition of right-of-way to include 6 parcels for Phase 1 north-south arterial between Spring Street and Woodland Street. Councilmember Mendez, you are recognized.
Thanks. Just a couple of questions on this that I'm not sure who they're the right person for. So this is to buy right away. I know the state's going to pay for half and Metro's going to pay for half. Is the deal with the state for them to pay half of it? Is that something that's already been approved or will be approved in the future?
Is Director Alacron still in the building? Director Alacron, you're recognized.
Sorry, excuse me. I'm Councilmember Mendez. Could you please repeat that question?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the sequencing down. Is this a thing where there's already a contract approved by the council where we pay for half and the state pays for half, and now we're appropriating money to execute on the previous deal, or are we appropriating money and there's some contract in the future to be had with the state?
So there was a resolution that was passed by the council in prior years, and this is actually now us moving forward with the execution of that resolution. The state is putting forth their part, and we're putting forth our part, and it's already appropriated in my budget.
And so, and I don't, maybe legal or some, I don't know the right answers, but so there's no way the state can put new strings on the $23 million. It's a done deal. If we pass this, they're going to chip in $23 million?
Yes, sir. It's actually $25 million, and it's a done deal. They have appropriated the dollars as well, and their local programming.
All right, and then the other thing I've heard from some people about, Director, is I know there's sort of ongoing discussion about exactly what we mean by multimodal on this road. Is there anything about what we're doing here that locks in the decisions about, for example, whether there's going to be bike lanes on this road or not?
It does not lock in that decision. That'll be part of the NEPA process when we actually begin the overall study of the entire boulevard.
All right, thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Mendez. Seeing no other hands, we have a motion properly seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? You approve on second reading, 15 in favor, 0 against. Just 1 minute. The last two. All right, we're on the budget now. The first three resolutions we'll take up after we go through the budget amendments. All the three resolutions all have the same budget amendments that are actually on the budget, so we'll take that up first. Item number 45 on our calendar, BL 2023-1867 was approved and re-referred to the Budget and Finance Committee. Adopts the budget ordinance of the Metropolitan Government for fiscal year 24. We have a proposed amendment number 1 by Councilmember Mendez and Roten. It is part of the actual substitute budget. This amendment is, if for some reason the substitute budget did not pass, we would need to take that up tonight. What this does, and Councilmember Mendez can correct me if I'm wrong, it gives us more the ability to use the surplus funds that we have in the excess for more items rather than just surplus. And if Councilmember Mendez would like to speak to that, Councilmember Mendez, you're recognized.
So the language in the substitute and this amendment, if necessary, broadens what the fund balance policy would allow. The fund balance policy would require the surplus money to be spent on capital items, and the language that we're using would let the surplus funds be used for any one-time purpose, not just capital. And then the other thing worth knowing is that all this does is change it for this year. And leaves the policy in place for whoever comes next to think about it more next year. So for the amendment, like, we're looking for a recommendation, but as long as the substitute gets added, then it won't be moved later tonight.
Okay. So what I'd like to do, since, as she just pointed out, the substitute's not listed on my calendar here, but we need to actually adopt the substitute so we can then start amending the substitute if we want to amend the substitute. And, yep, moved, properly seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? You approve the substitute, 15 in favor, 0 against. Now we will start going through the amendments. The substitute, as we said, does not need Councilmember Mendez's amendment. It'll be taken up on the floor tonight. So we were on proposed amendment number 2, Councilmember Porterfield. My apologies. She's telling me, though, even though we are not probably take it up tonight, we need a recommendation on it. So moved, properly seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 15 in favor, 0 against. Councilmember Porterfield, amendment number 2. You are, well, you can describe it. We'll see if we can get a motion in a second on this, which I hope we do. Councilmember Porterfield, you're recognized.
Thank you so very much, Chair. Amendment number 2 is for what we already voted for with the funding for Planned Parenthood. It is just allowing the funding to carry forward into FY24. And I don't think I can move for approval because I'm not on the committee.
Can I get a motion? Moved, properly seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? You approve. 15 in favor, 0 against. Amendment number 2.
Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Amendment number 3 by Toombs. Councilmember Toombs, you are recognized. Just hold on one second. I'm looking for you. I got you here somewhere. I know. There you are. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. This is the Metro Arts amendment where it just clarifies the language and gives the Metro Arts Commission the leeway to open up the funding to a greater variety of organizations. As written, there was some concern from Metro Arts that it would restrict them, and they're really wanting to open up the funding so that they can do their in addition to their grants, their Thrive projects, which a lot of that goes to smaller organizations led by people of color. And so they just want to make sure they have that equity so they can truly address the equity piece, that they have this language so that they're not restricted. Not move for approval.
Councilmember Mendez, you're recognized. It's moved and properly seconded.
Just a question for finance. I'm assuming there will be a mechanism at some point to make sure that this $2 million gets spent on one-time things and not recurring expenses.
You're recognized.
Sure. Again, this would be not available till 1/1, and it would have to be non-recurring. And I've flagged that every way I can think too.
Well, I know, but so arts folks are saying the money's going to be in the same hopper for grants along with how they usually do grants, and it just strikes me from hearing you say what you've said very clearly and what some Arts Commission people have told me very clearly, that there's some mechanism that's yet to be created.
No, this is non-recurring expenditures per the policy, and so
okay, thanks.
Seeing no other hands, all in favor? Any opposed? You approve Amendment 3, 15 in favor, 0 against. Amendment number 4 by Councilmember Sledge. You are recognized.
Thank you. I'd move the amendment just to get it.
Amendment's moved, properly seconded. Councilmember Sledge first.
Thank you, Chair. So what this does, the $2.8 million that was being added to fully fund the Better Bus program, it uses the Barnes Fund as a bridge to get it, just as Councilmember Mendez was mentioning in the last amendment about recurring funds. WEGO wanted to use those funds in Better Bus for recurring expenditures, specifically adding service on crosstown routes, which would be a recurring operating expense. What this does is allows that money to be in the operating side, and the Barnes Fund does not get reduced in any way. It just moves 2.8 from that operating side over to the one-time surplus side, 30 million total, just as before. I'd ask for your support.
And Councilmember Sledge, I want to thank you for working with me to try to get this done, because I know it was important to you and quite a few council members, and so we were able to get this done and this amendment done. So I thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Seeing no other hands, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You approve 15 in favor, 0 against. Councilmember Sledge's amendment number 4. All right, amendment number 5 is by Syracuse and Swara. It's the amendment that we took up earlier regarding the funding for the school safety. We're going to take that up just in case the other resolution didn't pass tonight. So it's exactly what we voted on earlier for the 6.5. So can I get a motion? Moved, properly seconded. Seeing no hands, all in favor? Any opposed? You approve. 15 in favor, 0 against. Opposed amendment number 6, Council Member Welch, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move the amendment.
You're not on the committee. Is there anybody moving the amendment? Moved by Councilmember Evans, seconded by Councilmember Sledge. Councilmember Welch, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to move this amendment because I think it's very important that we realize what our priorities are in our budgeting process. And I think that it's very important to see where we're spending our money in other places that are just as needing of the funding. Our police department has not had a budget request turned down in my entire time on the council, and they got also huge expenditures from ARP funding. They have a new fleet. They have new tasers. They're getting the same pay raises that Metro employers are getting. They have cash where they can fund new personnel. So I think if we hold their funding flat for a year, it's not going to be a very bad thing. And I think that reallocating some of that money and some of the other money in the criminal justice system is a worthy use of those dollars. Thank you.
Seeing no other hands, all in favor? Opposed? 0 in favor, 15 against. Councilmember Welch, amendment number 7, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to be withdrawing all the rest of my amendments.
They are all withdrawn all the way through amendment. All right, amendment number 13. Councilmember Suara, you're recognized. On amendment number 14.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move the amendment. I'll explain what it is.
A motion properly seconded. Councilmember Suara, you're recognized.
Thank you, friends. Moving this amendment as an opportunity for us to be able to buy the Morris Building. The Morris Building is an historical landmark. There's a lot of story there, including the slave trade, as well as the black businesses in that district. What this amendment is doing is basically allowing us to use that building, buy that building, and to be able to use it for Civil Rights Museum. People ask, what's the rush? The rush is because when I did the wish list originally, it was at $12 million. That was the price that we've been hearing all along. But on Wednesday, when we got the substitute, I got word that the convention is ready to reduce the price by 50%. And so now, if Metro is ready and willing and able, they will allow us to buy it for $6 million. I think this is a great investment. I think the timing is good. I think there's a lot of push for it. Once we have the building, then we can start talking about the renovation, which is in the CIB. There's been talks about Civil Rights Museum in this town since I came to town, and one of the things that's been missing is a building. I remember a conversation about Woolworth and some other stuff. So I'm asking everyone to please support this. For people that are concerned about part of it coming from arts, there will be a late file resolution that puts the money in arts back in arts. So technically, all of this is coming from the 4%, and it does not take the 4% below the required 4%. And so what we're going to do is the 4% will still be intact, the funding for arts will still be intact, and this allows us to be able to give back to this community a building that is the epicenter of black business in this town that we've desecrated. We don't have any more of that anymore. And a building that the people want. There's a lot of coalition. There's a private-public partnership. There's a fundraiser coming up. I'm hoping that, we just did Juneteenth yesterday. I'm hoping that we can restore this and give it back to the community and use it for a museum as well as Metro offices. Like I said, 4% is going to be intact. What we have right now is more than 4%. So taking a part of it is not going to dip it below 4%. And arts is going to be intact with the late file. So with that said, I'm hoping that the history that comes with it, the story that comes with it, everything that comes with this building, and the opportunity that the convention is willing to sell, if we can commit to it now at 50%, I think is a good deal for us to move on. Thank you. With that, I move approval.
Councilman Mendez, you recognized.
Thanks, Chair. I'm not going to be able to support this amendment. On principle about the 4% funds, I'm going to vote against all the amendments that dig further into 4% funds. It's unfortunate that we call it 4% funds because it creates confusion about what it actually is. And I think it's clear to everybody that setting aside the strict 4% that's required by the charter is inadequate for the needs of our departments. And I know we got a lot of emails from libraries, but we got information from the administration that I sort of famously disagree with the administration generally, but their information today about the scope of the 4% needs is stuff that's been true this entire term and going into last term. And the substitute already knocks it down, as I understand it, to about 4.5%, which carves it back from where it started at around 4.8% of what, above what the charter says. And it's just, for me, we do need to take care of the basic things that we're already doing, and that requires the 4% funds. That's what we call it, to be more than the strict minimum required in the budget. Otherwise, we're just setting ourselves up for some of the fiscal things that we dealt with fixing at the beginning of the term. So on the principle of I'm opposed to further reducing the 4% funds, this and other amendments that go to that as a funding source are going to be a no for me. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Mendez. Councilmember Johnston, you're recognized.
Thank you. I second everything that Councilman Mendez just said. The 4% funds don't come anywhere close to what our needs are from departments that pull from that all year long. It probably needs to be closer to like 7 or 8% at the very least. So I'm not interested in cutting that at all, and I too will be voting against anything that proposes to cut that. The other thing I wanted to say is I understand wanting to purchase the Morris Building and the historical significance of it and probably some good uses, but we just bought 88 Hermitage Avenue with the same principles, I'm assuming, which we've done nothing to at all. It's still sitting there in disrepair, getting worse and worse and worse. So I think a good funding source could be, let's sell 88 Hermitage Avenue to purchase Morris Avenue, the Morris Building. I mean, why do we need two buildings that we're doing absolutely nothing with that have massive renovation costs? I think we really need, we can't save the world. We have to start prioritizing. I fought against 88 Hermitage Avenue. It's just ridiculous.
Council Vice Chair Gamble, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. While I do really appreciate the intent behind the purchase of the Morris Building, and I hope that we will look at that moving forward as a viable option with some research and vetting to make sure that when we purchase that building, we're also committing to funding that is needed to repair the building and get it up to a standard that we can actually be useful. I know that this building request is also in the CIB, Capital Improvements budget, and I think a better approach would be to go for moving that into the CSP with support from the mayor, whether it's the current mayor or the future mayor, and the council. I do think it is an important initiative and something that we definitely need to explore and move forward going forward. However, I'm not able to support this amendment. I just don't think this is the right approach, dipping into the 4% as well. So I wanted to make that for the record. Thank you.
Councilman Porterfield, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to stand up and speak.
I got demoted.
What did I say?
Vice Chair.
I'm so sorry, Chair. I was so befuddled that it just threw me off. So my apologies, Chair Roden. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. I just wanted to stand and ask my colleagues to support this. There are a few things I just want to clarify. One, there is a late filed amendment that will give us the opportunity to fund both arts as well as the Morris Building, if that is a priority. 21 council members signed on to a letter saying that this was a priority to make sure that we're saving the Morris Building. I want to just give a real brief historical context of this building. There were several Black-owned buildings that were created by Black architects here in Nashville. The Morris Building, which was by the Black-owned architectural firm McKissick & McKissick and constructed by the National Baptist Convention Center. This is the last piece of African-American history that we have right here in Nashville. And while I respectfully disagree with my colleagues' analysis of we could sell 88 Hermitage Avenue, it's not appropriate to say we're going to sell one Black building to buy another Black building. That's extremely inappropriate. So I cannot sign on to that or co-sign or have any indication that that is appropriate, because that is highly inappropriate. With regards to use of this building, the community, what has been in discussion is to have a civil rights museum. We all know the rich history of civil rights here in Nashville. We are in talks of having a civil rights museum there, but also office space. This is going to be a good financial decision for Metro. Right now, many of our Metro departments are leasing out office space. They will be able to have office space in the Morris Building. So we will have a financial benefit of buying this building. As Councilwoman Soror said, the building right now is $12 million. This is our opportunity to get it for $6 million. And with regards to the 4% fund, I definitely respect my colleagues and their decision to not tap into that fund. It is a 4% fund. We can pass all of the amendments that we're looking at today and not drop below 4%. So the money is there to make sure that we are taking care of these priorities as well as the priorities that we fund with the 4% if the political will is there for the body. So I ask my colleagues to support. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Swoyer, you recognize.
Thank you, Chair. I really did understand that people have different thoughts and priorities, and that's why I started at a very low place. But I think the comments by my colleague really flared me up in that is the problem that I've seen with this city, that our priority are warped, and when it comes to the African-American community, it always has to be placed on the back burner. This building has been in the CIB for a long time. There's been a lot of talk about museum in this city for a long time, but every time there's always something bigger, better that we want to do. And for somebody to disparage it by another building for another building, it's insulting. That building is more than just a building. That spot is where Blacks were traded as slaves in this town. There is a history in there. And my colleague just talked about, after all of that slave trade, Black community coming together and building wealth. Built by Black, constructed by Black, has a lot of Black businesses in there. There was a whole district in this town that has Black wealth and Black businesses that we don't have anymore. We have businesses on Jefferson that I-40 took away. And so when the people are saying, I went to a panel on Saturday, and somebody said that Blacks really wanted here, that is a question. And so whatever we decide to do, we as a body can do it. It's a matter of political will. It's a matter of priority. It's a matter of what we consider as important. And I'm saying that this building is important. When we tried to do it with the Woolworth, by the time everybody come together, the building was gone. The convention is ready to sell now. At 50%, if we can commit to buying it now. And then in terms of fixing it, yes, there will be fixing. But we have it in the CIB to fix it. The 4% is not going to go below. We're going to have to talk about 4% next time too. But I'm saying just as the cars and the police and the parks and everything in 4% is important, this is also important to a group of people. Everybody signed on to it. Everybody said it's a great idea. I hope we can find the political will to make it happen and not disparage it and think it's just, I don't even know what to say about that. But with that, whatever we want to do, we'll do it. It's either important to us or it's not. And so I hope we send a statement that this is something we want to save and we're going to make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Pulley, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with my colleagues in the sentiment that we need to preserve this building and it's a funding source issue for me. So to that end, I want to see where we are. And I throw the question to the administration if what kind of plans they have, or administratively, where are we with you guys on the Morris building and any efforts that you might have to acquire that? Mr. Chair, could you open their mic?
Apologize. Thought you were on. You're recognized.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Chair. The mayor is very fond of the Morris Building, and he tasked actually Fabian Bedney in our office, as you know, as an architect, with essentially figuring out a way to preserve it and use it. There was also additional study by the General Services Department, and I believe Velvet Hunter may be here in the room with us. If she could approach the stand and or the podium and relay her findings, then I can add a little bit to it.
Thank you.
Ms. Hunter, you're recognized.
Hi, I'm Velvet Hunter, Interim Director, General Services. Thank you. Yes, I can speak to a little bit to the redevelopment cost. We engaged Ernst & Young about a year ago to look at homes for, or to make recommendations for metro agencies that were relocating mainly due to lease expirations. And one of the options they considered was the Morris Memorial Building for several metro agencies. But their conclusion was that the redevelopment costs would be very high, and the estimate at that time was $43 million over 5 years to fit out the building. And they also had concerns that the facility's small, constrained space that doesn't provide flexibility while adding 1 to 2 stories might be possible, be very high cost. They also pointed out a concern about parking. There is no parking, so there would be considerable costs there, depending on who's housed there and the parking needs for those folks. And then based on the square foot rate, just to operate a building of that size, using General Services square foot rate, which is consistent with the Ernst & Young study, would be about $500,000 a year.
Councilmember Pulley.
Does the administration have anything to add to that in terms of efforts to acquire this?
Mr. Bedney, in assessing it, he dragged me through that building as well. It is got a story past. The environmental remediation includes asbestos removal and lead removal, which I think is what leads to the 40+ million abatement costs. The remodeling costs were an enormous significant expense. The parking restrictions, if you recall the structure, there's only about 4 dedicated parking spaces behind it, which would be insufficient to meet the code's requirement for the parking behind it. It's also subject, oddly, to a height restriction, a capital height restriction under the Downtown Partnership, which seems counterintuitive because it's surrounded by taller buildings, but because of its proximity to James Robertson, the Downtown Partnership does restrict our ability. We can't just add stories to make up the space that we would need for the new elevator components, stairwell components. So the mayor really did push hard on this. I promise you, it just seemed a bridge too far for this council. What I would hope is that perhaps the council would commission a dedicated study to its renovation and uses, but just to make an acquisition tonight by amendment, I think would be unwise.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Sorry, can I just add one thing? Part 5 of this is not an available source for revenue. So that $1 million for facility rental, that is contractual obligations for existing leases we have, including the Meharry $6 million payment. That $1 million is not available.
Councilmember Benedict, you recognize.
Thank you, Chair. I want to make sure I understand that rather than 40 million or 28 million or some of the numbers that we've heard, this is $6 million and we acquire the building? For the purchase of what is the $6 million?
From the administration, are y'all aware of any contractual? Have we entered any contracts for 6%? Have y'all got any offers or any?
$6 million.
I'm sorry, what? $6 million?
Yeah, I think this might be a question, Chair, for Councilmember Swore. I'm not sure if you could recognize her.
Councilmember Swore, you recognize.
Yes. So the Metro Human Relations, Pastor Tucker has been leading the conversation. And so the 12 million purchase was initially what it was, and that's what's in the CIB. But I have a letter that was sent by the National Baptist Convention that initially said they would take 7.5, but with further conversation with Tucker, they agreed that it would take 6 million. So we do have that. And that's the urgency why between the time of the wish list and the time that the substitute came out and filing this amendment, that's why it went in that rapidly. But yes, the owners have said they will, the $6 million will be to buy it.
So we would actually acquire it.
Acquired it, yes, and own it, yes. And own it. And to be able to, I'm sorry, one thing that I also wanted to add to all of this is that I think initially when Metro was looking at it, we talk about affordable housing at some point, and so maybe that's where the height restriction and all of that is coming into play. But if you're going to use it for a museum, you cannot destroy it. It's an historical landmark. If it's supposed to be for a museum, it stays the way it is. And so you do not need to put anything else on top of it. I also wanted to add that there has been a movement, and I don't know if you guys have read it in the paper, of so many people coming together to actually help maintain and do this. There is an event at the Ryman on July 15, which is a fundraiser, a concert. And so there are people that are willing to come together that will be helping with the maintenance and everything, but we don't want to miss out on buying the building. And so,
if I could, thank you, Councilmember. I guess what I want to focus on here is that we have the opportunity to acquire something for $6 million that's worth a bit more, significantly more, according to our own study. So, we had opportunities to buy other things in the past, and then this administration and this council has approved purchasing other things for much more than what they originally could have cost us. I think that $6 million is, while I understand and agree that keeping more than 4% in the 4% fund is a very good thing, I think that this project, this amendment is one that I can support because I think it's a bargain, first of all, especially for something that's as historic as this is. So with that, I'm supportive of this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Syracuse, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Just a little context. There's the one voice that's not in this room, and that's Metro Historic. I'm not totally sure if this building has a historic overlay on it, but when we talk about adding stories and things like that, that makes me very nervous. If it doesn't have a historic overlay on it, I think that's one thing we could look at doing before the end of the term if the Baptist Convention is willing to entertain that, so we can actually make sure we protect the building no matter who would possibly acquire it. I can't support the amendment because I think it's not the fiscally responsible way to do it, but I can tell you that it is at the top of my list as far as historic preservation opportunities. When I passed the tax abatement program for qualified historic properties, this building is on top of that list. So I would like to have a little more further discussion about potential uses and the total cost of renovation and how this program might help with that. And I do agree with Councilmember Gamble that the more appropriate way is through the capital spending plan. Thank you.
Councilmember Porterfield, kind of quick if you don't mind.
Thank you, Chair. I will be extremely brief. I just wanted to acknowledge that the building is 1/10 of a mile away from here. With regards to addressing concerns about parking, there's a parking garage right here that we can look into. With regards to the funding for renovations, the intent of this is to be a public-private partnership, as Councilwoman Suarez said. So we are raising money and trying to get money, and we are dedicated to raising money so that we can renovate this building. All of this will not be on Metro. One of the number one concerns that I hear from minorities in this city is that Black people do not have a place in Nashville. We deserve to have a place that is welcoming for our community. We deserve for our history to be preserved. And the civil rights history and the history of African Americans in Nashville is Nashville history. This is all of our history. We deserve to have a right to have this preserved. And I'm asking my colleagues to please support this so that we can continue in this process. Thank you, Chair.
Councilmember Sledge, you're recognized.
Thanks, Chair. I'll be brief. I'm trying to get numbers. So based on the late filed potential amendment here, my understanding from reading it is the $2 million that would be in capital grants for the Arts Commission would instead come out of the 4% fund, which would be a total amount of the 4% fund of $4 million. Is that accurate, Ms. Darby? I see you nodding your head. What does that bring? If we take $4 million out instead of 2, what does that bring the 4% fund down to as a percentage? I know we're at 4.6 right now. Is that?
Kelly. Oh, I don't know the exact percentage, but it does not take us below the 4% number.
Got it. Okay, that's helpful. And then Director Flannery, I want to bring up. I just want to reiterate what you said. You're saying that the $1 million facility rental is not available in this?
No, we are contractually obligated under our existing leases, including the $6 million this council approved to Meharry, to make those payments. So that $1 million is not available.
So if we pass this might be for Ms. Darby, what happens if we pass it and there's a amount that's not available?
Correct.
Well, if we can't meet our contractual obligations, then there's a possibility for us to be in breach of contract and litigation to ensue, or find another way to fund.
Gotcha. Okay. With all that being said, Chair, thank you for entertaining that. I maintain the stance that Councilmember Benedict does. I think overall it's a deal worth doing. I would just say, regardless of recommendation out of this committee tonight, and I'm going to vote for it in committee, this is going to have to be structurally fixed between now and when this comes up on the floor. So I just ask that the sponsors consider that. Thank you, Chair.
Councilmember Swore, are you? Okay. All right. Councilmember Syracuse.
Thank you, Chair. Just real quick, the other piece that it makes it very difficult for me to support this as Chair of Public Health and Safety. It's going to remove a good bit of the Healthy Nashville study that addresses health disparities in Nashville. So I need to respectfully not support this. Thank you.
All right. Seeing no other hands, we're voting on amendment number 14 by Councilmember Suara. All in favor, raise your hand. 4 in favor. All opposed, please raise your hand. Four in favor, 7 against. Proposed amendment number 15 by Suara. Council members.
Are there any abstentions?
Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Toombs abstained. My apologies. Amendment number 15, Councilmember Suara, you're recognized.
I'll defer to Councilmember Evans.
Councilmember Evans, you're recognized.
Thank you. I'd like to move approval of this amendment.
Councilmember Evans has moved approval of amendment number 15. It's moved, properly seconded.
I'm happy to give some explanation on it. So before there's any discussion or questions. So basically this kind of came up a while back, probably like January of this year, and it didn't make it into the wish list, the substitute, unfortunately. But we're looking at how can we increase board member salaries to give them not quite parity with Metro Council, but to increase them from their current 14.5 to make the position a little bit more attractive for the future people that may want to run for this position, but then also to really look at the fact that the job has changed since 2019 when we were all elected. You know, the kind of tenor of policy decisions made by the state that the school board's responsible for ensuring are implemented has definitely become more difficult as conversations, you know, with families and schools about children have become more challenging in light of the COVID situation that we had a couple of years ago. And so that's what this amendment is striving to do is, you know, bring their salaries up. And so I will continue to move approval.
Vice Chair Gamble, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. While I agree that several of our elected officials and public servants need to get an increase in pay, my question is, has there been a pay study done for Metro school board members? And I'm just wondering where the number came from for the suggested increase in this amendment. I don't know.
Councilmember Evans.
So I don't know if there has been a pay study specific to the board, so that's a great question. I do know that kind of an informal review of cities in Tennessee, they're paying their school board members significantly higher than we are in Nashville. So our school board members are significantly underpaid in comparison. But to your question, I don't know the answer to that.
Thank you. I would, I guess I definitely support the need to increase school board pay. I understand that there is a pay study being conducted by Human Resources for elected officials, including council members and constitutional officers. I wonder if this could be added, if a pay study for school board members can be added. Also, I would like if the administration could speak to any issues that you may see by taking this funding out of the contingency fund. Also, if you could speak to the legislative process for increasing board member pay as well.
Director Darby, you're recognized.
I can talk about the legislative process. We do have to introduce legislation in order to, additional legislation in order to actually increase and set a new salary amount. And that usually, looking back at 2004, which I believe was the last time it was increased for school board, that does go through a similar process to increasing the pay for council members, which would go through civil service and usually a pay study, a compensation study, which I believe is in the budget for human resources for this upcoming fiscal year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
And the second question about the funding coming from contingency. Someone can speak to
Director
that.
Flannery.
Sure. Contingency is just that, contingency, and specifically in the utility account, that really helps buffer us against, a really hot summer, a really cold winter, and the fluctuations in utility costs. But I think another consideration for this amendment, and some that we're going to see going forward as well, is you could give this money to MNPS, but there is no indication that they would use it for the intended purpose. That struggle continues. So,
one last question: If it seems like we're putting the cart before the horse because we don't have a pay study, we don't have the legislation that is required in order to increase the pay. It seems that it would be more prudent, and this is not a lot of money. I mean, we probably could have, I guess another question is, could this funding, if approved by legislation, by the council, after pay study information, could this come out of MNPS's budget, or does it have to come, or is it supposed to come out of the council contingency, or any line item in the council operating budget?
Director Flannery.
My favorite sport is spending other people's money, but I would think that in a $1.2 billion subsidy from Metro, that if this is a priority of schools, they could find it within that $1.2 billion.
And they could, so the question, to answer to that question is yes, it could come out of school's budget.
I would say yes.
Thank you.
Councilmember Benedict.
Thank you, Chair. For Director Flannery, if I may, how much money do we spend on utilities each year? So $26,500 might be not very much at all, perhaps?
Sure, it's de minimis.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no other hand. Oh, sorry. Councilmember Mendez, you're recognized.
This is just a technical one. My recollection when I did what you're doing this year is that because it's taking money from one of our big funds and putting it into another big fund, that it filters through by changing like 20 numbers in the ordinance. And I guess my question is, assuming people wanted to do this, is this an adequate amendment given the fact that it's probably going to change 15, 20 numbers in the document?
Yeah, this would require, because it's going to schools, a revenue change as well, and it's not as elegant as it looks on this page. It is a lift to do this one.
Is that okay or not okay?
I love the power you're giving me.
I mean, my impression from previous years is that it's not really cool or appropriate to go change 20 numbers afterwards just because an amendment was, not as elegant as it looked on paper. And so if I'm just looking for a straight answer about whether we're allowed to do this or not. I mean, would this actually be effective?
It would be better if it spelled out all of the places in the budget that were needed to have a line item change.
Seeing no other hands, all in favor? Opposed? One in favor. I apologize. Two in favor.
I only saw 3 people raise their hands.
If you're opposed, please raise your hand so we can get the proper.
4, 5
5 against. 2 in favor, 5 against.
abstentions.
Any abstentions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 abstentions. On to amendment number 6. Councilmember Johnston, you are recognized.
Thank you. We had some robust conversation around the employees' COLA this year, and for those that watched the budget meeting where we sort of dove into that, I don't want to rehash anything, but I do think that the way that we do our COLA has historically been wrong. So everyone knows inflation is really high. COLA is supposed to be directly tied to inflation. Inflation this year, according to the Social Security Administration, is 8.7. The Civil Service Commission recommended 7. The administration has done 4. The substitute has 6. I know I'm throwing numbers out all over the place. To get that extra percent to get up to where the Civil Service Commission recommended, we're in a situation where it can't be one-time funds because it's recurring. So then you're pulling from departments. And so my goal in trying to find that money was to make small little haircuts so that no department was affected detrimentally. And I could not come up with the full percent without feeling like I was really going to hurt a department, because I had some criteria. I was pulling from departments that had at least 10% vacancies. I was pulling from departments that historically give money back to the general fund, or at least have in the past couple of years, so that it was going to be money that wouldn't be missed was my goal, so that we could get our employees taken care of, because we haven't done it in a long time. And so that's what this amendment does. It takes 1.5 million from Parks, 1.25 million from NDOT, 900,000 from General Services, and 250,000 from Waste Services. All of these departments have the lowest is almost 18%. I'm sorry, Parks has 13% vacancies, but all the way up to 17%, 23%. So high vacancies. And I understand we've made some strides in changing some of our pay scales for folks, and we're doing better at hiring folks. But it's my desire to take care of the people that we have here already. And I think that would go a long way for morale. It would go a long way for productivity, and for recruiting as well. So I hope that my colleagues will support me in supporting our employees.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnston. Councilman Vice Chair Gamble, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chair. And as you know, Chair, you spent a lot of time, we both have, looking at how to increase the COLA so that it would be more in line with recommendations, the current inflation rate, et cetera. And we're very prudent to come up with the 2% increase on top of the 4% that was in the recommended mayor's budget. The chair's substitute budget includes an additional 2%, bringing that COLA up to 6%, which is more in line with the current inflation rate. And that was done without cutting any departments or cutting any positions. I think everyone has on their desk information that was received from departments as to how these cuts would impact services that we have been trying to improve and increase for our city. That has been a priority for many council members as our city has grown and our services have not been able to keep up with the growth because of lack of staff, resources, et cetera. So the idea of cutting positions that, according to departments, would cut services, it would cut Saturday community center hours, it would cut fleet services for our fire and other departments. It would cut a litter program that is very much needed, that has already had somewhat of a cut to address some of the other concerns in the substitute. So for those reasons, and the fact that over the last week, I have been meeting with at least 3 neighborhood organizations, the Madison Chamber and the Firefighters Association, and discussed this 2% increase in the chair's substitute, and all of them, the consensus was very appreciative of that the chair was able to come up with that 2% without cutting positions and departments. And so for those reasons, I can't support this amendment or any amendment that increases the COLA by decreasing services, basically. And so thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Toombs, you recognize.
Thank you, Chair. So I believe the intent of this amendment, as well as the next one, was to look at unfilled positions. There are departments that have had many unfilled positions for multiple years, and that the money from those positions just go back into the fund balance every year. And so rather than having that money go back into the fund balance, where then we're subject to our new fund balance policy and where it can only be used for one-time expenses, I think that it's more prudent to capture those funds and use them to increase the salary of our workers that are currently working to keep our city running. Where I'm confused at, Chair, is where these departments are operating at a certain level of service with their current level of vacancies, but taking away some of those vacancies will result in a reduction in service. That doesn't make sense because the vacancies aren't actual people. So how is it that a reduction in non-existent people would lead to a reduction in service? And if there's someone from either Parks or NDOT General Services that could explain how we get to a reduction in services by reducing the number of vacancies.
Mm-hmm. Matt, you recognize.
Good evening, Matt Purvis from NDOT. While the intent of the legislation was to cut departments with unfilled positions, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's where we end up making our cuts. So in our intent of receiving these cuts, especially the initial 1.2 million cuts from the substitute, the only location we really had to cut was in our waste program, and that was for the expanded services that we were told by council to provide in the first place, from additional waste baskets on our sidewalks, as well as additional street sweeping services. So the intent might have been to cut our vacancies, but that's not exactly where we made our cuts. And in addition, the majority of our vacancies in NDOT specifically are on the front line, which has a high turnover rate historically anyway. So by cutting those, it doesn't exactly cut unused spots. It just cuts spots that are unused at the moment, if that makes sense.
So rather than cutting some of those spots that are unused at the moment, you would choose to cut services?
That's correct, because just because we have those spots unfilled right now, we do need those spots when they are filled with the higher turnover rate to provide the services we do every day.
And do you know how many vacancies you currently have with NDOT?
I think we're looking for that number now. I don't have it off the top of my head now.
Councilmember Johnston.
So the department total FTEs 464. The vacant FTEs is 94.5, which represents 20.37% vacancies.
Right. So like I said, the majority of those vacancies are on our front line, which has, I'm not sure the exact turnover rate. Diana might have it.
Thank you. So currently, actually, our vacancies has dropped significantly. We're actually below 60. We've had some really great success with getting folks hired, both frontline and some key professional positions. I will tell you at one time, I think turnover was 23%, and we are working really hard to build out a department that people want to stay and work and not have that revolving front door. But a lot of the front door that's revolving is on our frontline workers. So the recent pay increase has helped significantly with attracting. This new pay plan actually has additional increase that'll help us even work better, have a better opportunity with retention. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dinah. Councilmember Toombs.
And Director Alarcon, before you sit down, with those 60 or 60-ish positions, do you anticipate filling all those positions over the next fiscal year?
It is our intention to fill them. Right now, what we do to make sure we're maintaining the service level is we have a lot of overtime. We have staff that works on Saturdays and works 6 days a week versus the 5 days a week so that we can make sure that we're still meeting all the service demands. And this is also going to allow us to do more. So we do have every intention. And like I said, with the new pay plan, that's going to help us actually attract more and retain.
Councilmember Johnston, you're recognized.
Thank you. One of the other criteria that I looked at was departments that historically give money back. So last year, or fiscal year ended June 30th, 2022, Public Works or NDOT gave back $3.5 million to the general fund. The year before that, they gave back nearly $1 million. So again, these are dollars that are intended to, for all intents and purposes, for you to not feel it, because they do have unfilled positions, or however they want to cut it, but they give money back. So it wasn't just unfilled positions. It was departments that had a lot of unfilled positions, but also were giving money back to the general fund every year, which means we've allocated money that just sits there doing absolutely nothing. The other thing that I wanted to point out is something that actually came up that I noticed. It triggered my alarm bells, is when we were talking about the allocation to the sheriff's department in the schools, where miraculously we find something that's really important to us, like school safety, which I'm not disagreeing with, and I'm really happy about it. But we go back to the finance department and they say, oh, well, we have another two months of data, and we just found the money. We found 10 point whatever million dollars that just came out of the air. So I'm just wondering if we can find money like that. Are our employees not important enough to go back and find that money because revenues have come in so much higher? I mean, was anybody else sort of like, my eyebrows kind of went up like, we just found this money because it didn't decrease our surplus. We have 2 more months of data and revenue has come in higher than we expected. And so this money just appears. Can we not try to do something like that to take care of our employees that we already have?
Director Flannery, you're recognized. Harlot, you're recognized.
So just a reminder for the sheriff's portion, when I gave my presentation on May 1st, I indicated then there would be a cleanup supplemental coming. So that was actually all reflected in the estimates. The 6.5 priority to safe and harden up those schools was a lift for the team, but we're comfortable making that risk. But there is not a windfall of cash that we are making up here. It was reflective of what we had discussed in May.
Councilmember Benedict, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm looking at where these cuts are coming from, and I'm looking at amendment number 17, which we're going to look at next. And I'm not comfortable.
If we can stay on 16, we need to.
I'm not comfortable with where these cuts are on this one, so I'm going to vote no for this. And I'll certainly speak to the other one when we get to it. I just wanted to call that out. Thank you.
Councilmember Slade, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Since we won't get the opportunity in full floor, does somebody from Parks want to explain their similar comments?
Is anyone from Parks here? You're recognized.
Good evening, Shanita White, Assistant Director of Finance and Administration. I'm here in Director Odom's absence. She is traveling at a work conference. Similar to NDOT, we do have some vacancies in our frontline workers. We did get an appropriation in the mayor's recommended budget to address some of those pay deficiencies, to up the pay for especially our maintenance and repair workers, or in several classifications within our maintenance division. So while services currently are not being delayed, we do face overtime and staffing issues when there are special events and things of that nature for our department. We have to rely on the same set of folks to do the same amount of work. So basically, there have not been any delays in services, but we do rely on those frontline workers an extended amount of time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So my concern on this, as is the same in the next one, when it says eliminating full operations at community centers on Saturdays, we just put those in 3 years ago. I mean, like, we've just got those in. And that includes centers like easily in the district I represent, where that might be really the only place for kids to go for 4 hours on Saturdays. So similar to Councilmember Benedict, I can't be supportive of this amendment because of what it's, based on what the departments have told us, what it's going to be taken away. Thank you.
So, Council Member, to clarify, our first priority is to cut those things that are in the mayor's recommended budget, and that is to extend the hours at those community centers, not to cut the vacancies.
Yeah, so we would be extending them. If we cut them, you wouldn't be able to extend them.
Correct.
Got it. Yeah, we need to extend them. So thank you.
Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so for parks, how many current vacancies do you have?
Currently, in generally, we have our, 120 vacancies, and that's part-time and full-time. That's not counting our pooled or our seasonal. That is just part-time and full-time.
And so can you explain why, if your budget were to be cut, why the decision would be made to cut the expanded services rather than cut the vacancies that are unfilled?
Well, it would be cutting actually our expansion of those services for additional hours.
So didn't you receive additional FTEs to cover the expansion of the additional hours?
So the director's preference is for us to operate status quo as we are now, and not to cut those vacancies, because we received the funding to get to, just say one of our recommendations is to reclassify our maintenance and repair workers to equipment operators to be in line with some of the other departments that use that same classification. Our anticipation and our hope is to be able to hire more at this base rate of pay than the one we have now. So we don't want to cut those vacancies in hopes to get those staff, to add those additional staff.
So you anticipate filling 120 vacancies over the next fiscal year?
All 120 are not in the maintenance division. So some of our vacancies are in community centers. We don't have the breakdown of which divisions has which positions, but they are across the whole department. There are in community centers, also in maintenance, our revenue producing facilities, as well as administration in greenways and planning divisions.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Evans, you're recognized.
Thank you. Our speaker just said something that struck me. It's not specific to her comments, but kind of the notion of this being status quo, like maintaining the status quo. The status quo we've been maintaining it for the last 3 budgets where we have these positions, they get cycled, they don't get filled, they get, money gets returned, and then we end up in the same boat that we are today. And so I appreciate the line of questioning from Councilwoman Toombs, but I don't know what the fix is. I know it can't be solved with this amendment and our current process, but I'm just going on the record saying let's fix it for the next term because the status quo is terrible. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're voting on amendment number 16 by Johnston. Everybody on Budget and Finance, if you're in favor, raise your hand. 2 in favor, opposed. 3 in favor, opposed. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3 in favor, 8 opposed. Any abstentions? One abstention. Proposed amendment number 17 by Porterfield. Councilmember Porterfield, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be super brief because we just had part of this conversation. The intent of this legislation is to get our Metro employees to the 7% COLA as recommended. And I want to start by thanking the administration for getting us to the 4%. And Chair, thank you to Councilmember Roten and Councilmember Gamble. I know how hard this was to get that additional 2% to get employees to 6%. So I just want to publicly thank you all for your due diligence. This will allow us to go ahead and close the gap for that additional 1%. We've just heard from Parks and NDOT about these vacancies. Department heads are making a choice to cut services instead of cutting vacancies of positions that are cycling through, as Councilmember Evans just pointed out. Year after year, we are going through the same cycle where we are funding these departments as best as we can. They are returning money back to us because they are not filling their vacancies. By doing this, we are able to pay the people that are actually keeping our city running. If we're saying that some of these departments are understaffed, that means somebody's picking up the slack. So employees are doing their job and going above and beyond. Pay them for it. The director of NDOT said that when we fixed the new pay plan, helped with retention and recruitment. Pay helps keep people. If we want to stop losing Metro employees, pay them. This is an opportunity to spread it out so that we are addressing vacancies in multiple departments in Metro. The department heads have the ability to fund this or these cuts to come from unfilled FTEs, which will not impact services. These are vacant positions. So I ask that my colleagues please support this amendment. Thank you, Chair.
Mm-hmm. Get a motion properly seconded. All in favor, please raise your hand. 2 in favor, opposed. 7, 8 against, 1 abstention, 2 abstentions. On proposed amendment number 18 by Porterfield. Councilmember Porterfield, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. This is coming from the 4% fund. These are to fund some of the DEI positions that are definitely needed. We're looking at funding 1.5 positions through HR, and those positions will be addressing retention and the 1 position will be to address retention and recruitment, and a 1/2 position for training. The other 2.5 positions will be through the finance department. Those positions are 1 person to look at policy through an equity lens. So when we're looking at legislation, laws, programs, policies, and practices in Metro government, as well as our boards and commissions, to make sure that we are looking at those policies through an equity lens. The 2nd position is equitable community development to address the racial wealth gap and displacement of historically underserved communities, which are vulnerable communities, immigrant communities, and communities that are 65 and up. And then that 1/2 position is for a trainer, so that they would be splitting a trainer position. So this is coming from the 4% fund. Again, this does not drop the fund below the 4%. So I ask that my colleagues prioritize these DEI positions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no hands, all in favor? Please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Opposed? Abstentions? 4 in favor, 4 against, with 1 abstention. Proposed amendment number 9 by Councilmember Stiles. Councilmember Stiles, you're recognized. Councilmember Stiles, amendment number 19.
Thank you, Chair. So in speaking with Dr. Kroom, there was a position that the Women's Caucus created last year to provide therapy for center care and also home-based care for daycare centers. And this year, when I met with Dr. Kroom about a month ago, she said that there were some unexpected expenses that had come up with this position this year and asked for this $25,000. It was after they had already submitted the budget for MAC. And I did verify if this was a separate request. And knowing Dr. Kroom, she is very meticulous with finances. So if she's asking for this additional $25,000, it is money that is needed. And it is a small amount. So I'm hoping that people will vote in favor. This is a position that has never existed before. And the daycare and center-based care providers have been responding, and this is to help them with the trauma that they're dealing with what they're seeing every single day.
Thank you.
With their clients.
Thank you. We get a motion. Moved. Need a second. Fails for lack of a second. Nope. My apologies. I got a late second from. All right. Seeing no other hands, all in favor, please raise your hand. 3 in favor. Opposed? All opposed, please raise your hand. Aye, so we can see them. Nay. 7. 3 in favor, 7 against. Any abstentions? Seeing no abstentions. Amendment number 20 by Councilmember Stiles, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. So this is for a position for an additional vet tech. In speaking with Dr. Harrington over Metro Animal Care and Control, while there is a tight space in the existing facility, there is room right now for a vet and 2 techs, and vets need to do their surgeries with 2 techs. So only providing them with 1 vet and 1 tech would not be very helpful. So I'm hoping that we can get this additional $40,000 so we can have a complete set. Dr. Harrington asked for 9 positions, was given none. So, I mean, we're off to a good start to give them 2. I don't think asking for 3 is too much.
Councilmember Evans, you're recognized.
Thank you. The only thing that I will say about it in the back sheet that we received, it references significant space constraints in the Health Department Animal Control Facility and about supplementing spay and neutering needs through other partners, including Pet Community Center. It's really difficult to get an appointment at some of these other facilities. And so we are continuing to see animal care and control filled to the brim with animals. If you follow their Friends of Mac page, you have seen this yourself. They're, constantly looking for fosters. And in the end, not allocating this additional resource to be able to do these spay and neuter surgeries. We're continuing to create situations with animals in Davidson County where we have too many of them and we need to really get aggressive on controlling, and that's the only way that we can do it is through spaying and neutering. Thank you.
Councilmember Johnston, you're recognized.
I just want to reiterate the constant desire to cut or pull from the 4% funds, which 4%, again, is not anywhere near what our departmental needs are throughout the year. It doesn't even come close, and most of the departments depend on that. So just like Councilmember Mendez said earlier, he's not going to support, neither am I. It's not about the importance of what we're trying to get the money for. It's the source of funds. This is not a honeypot.
Seeing no other hands, all council members in favor, please raise your hands. 2 in favor, 4 in favor. Opposed, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 5. 6 against, 4 in favor, 6 against. Any abstentions? Seeing none. Moving on, amendment number 20, Councilmember Stiles, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to go ahead and.
Sorry, it was 21. I apologize.
That's quite all right. I'm going to withdraw Amendment 21.
Councilmember Stiles, amendment number 22.
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and withdraw 22 as well.
Thank you, Councilmember Stiles.
Thank you,
Moving
Chair.
on. Proposed amendment 23 by Councilmember Henderson. Councilmember Henderson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chair Roten. I appreciate the recognition. Colleagues, this is a similar amendment to one that you have seen before from me.
1 second, Councilmember Henderson. Can I get a motion?
Oh, yes.
Moved, properly seconded. Thank you. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. That you have seen from me before in the context of the pandemic major tax increase. I did try to bring attention to some of these per job incentives that I would assert are not necessary. This, I would say, colleagues, is the most notorious among them. Amazingly, somebody drafted this in 1999. It has a 40-year term. I would assert it's kind of like a zombie a zombie incentive. And so Dell has not taken this incentive since 2015, colleagues. So that's entirely during our 2 terms. And so I guess I would just say to us, I had hoped in the context of a major tax increase, the package of amendments that I had, this among them, I may be seeing the writing on the wall. If we could not do it then, I'm not sure if we will do it now, but I do want us to think about from our perspective on the council side of the House in kind of engaging the administration and asking, why do we still keep doing this, Chair? So Arts had approached us about their needs, and this is $500,000 that just keeps going back in every year because Dell is not taking advantage of it. And so I would assert that we need to take it off the books because it still has almost 17 years on it. So with that, Chair, I'm happy to take any questions, but I guess my question would perhaps be to the administration, if I could. As I understood it in the context of the pandemic, it is at council's discretion to renew these incentives every year. That's why they are in the budget. And so I wonder if somebody could speak to the specific legal language about why we are supposedly contractually obligated to provide this if requested, even though it has not been requested for 8 years.
Mr. James, you're recognized.
So the modern practice with respect to economic incentives is that the language is included is corporation comes here, brings so many employees, and we agree to pay a stipend per employee. But we put into the contract subject to annual appropriations by the council. Now, we started doing that, don't quote me, but within the last 10 years. I don't believe we did this for Dell. Now, what Dell has done every year is essentially send a letter saying we're not interested this year in the stipend that we're entitled to. But they are entitled to it. And so this is not a bad idea, but I don't know that this is the direction you would take or the order you would take. The better approach we would suggest would to formally approach Dell and just get a contractual revision or termination. That has to go back to the IDB. For their approval, as all economic development incentives do. And that might be the approach, and that might execute this idea. But to do it outright does expose us to liability. Dell next year could say, we're ready to take our money now, and if we cancel the funding, we'd be in a bit of a pickle. So I think the belt and suspenders approach would be not through this amendment, but through before the end of this term, we could approach Dell, approach the IDB, and see if we can terminate. I'll see if Ms. Amos has any further questions for Metro Legal.
I agree with all that. We would have to amend that contract, and then it would come before the IDB and then before you all as a contract amendment.
Has the administration ever had a conversation with Dell about this in the context of the first time this amendment, similar, was advanced, and subsequent to that in the following years? Has the administration ever engaged Dell to ask, hey, could we get the 40-year zombie incentive that y'all haven't used for the last 15 years off our books, so we don't have to keep putting this $1 million to $500K in the budget every year?
When the pandemic first started having significant repercussions, I believe all the recipients were reached out to. I believe, and don't quote me, this was 2.5, 3 years old, but I believe Dell indicated that they would be continuing to send the same assurances they did every year for the indefinite future. But whether or not the better approach is to go ahead and permanently wipe that off the books, perhaps that's so. But I don't know that I would do it simply by eliminating the funding first and then cleaning it up. I would just do it the opposite direction.
Okay, I appreciate that, Mr. Jameson. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Henderson.
Chair, I think, I would just say to Budget and Finance colleagues, I don't serve on this committee, but, if we were to take a vote here, it might be good, I think, for us as a body to show Dell that we think perhaps it might be time to have this conversation. So I would suggest, Chair Roten, perhaps we take a vote in committee, and I will take it under advisement, and I can perhaps withdraw when we're on the floor, Chair. But I would like to put it to a vote, again, on the 40-year zombie incentive that I would assert Dell does not need and has not used for the last 8 years. Thank you.
No, thank you, Councilmember Henderson, for bringing it to our attention. So, Councilmember Benedict, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Question for the administration. If we were to go to Dell and get get the contract amended such that we didn't have to, pay this, would we then, before the end of this term, even if it was after the budget was passed, would we then have this $500,000 to give to the Arts Commission? Is there a mechanism for us to do that once we get the okay to, release us from this obligation with Dell?
You certainly wouldn't have it in the following fiscal year. You wouldn't have that obligation in the budget. I don't know of a way to clean that off the books before then.
So what I'm hearing then is we could either take the risk here and do this tonight, or we would have to wait until the next budget season.
You can do that by virtue of a supplemental if there's urgency, but because there's been no cost consideration for this for the last 8 and presumably the next 8 at least, I don't know that you need to be in a hurry.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Allen, you okay? Councilmember Allen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I mean, I agree that this has been sitting there, and in essence, it's just ended up being part of the surplus, and now we have an official way to deal with it, but it certainly would be better to clean it up, and I appreciate that suggestion. I do think Dell was a good partner when COVID hit, and we needed a lot of laptops, and they came forth with those. And if this was a deal made a long time ago before we knew what we were doing, and we weren't the it city, and it was the worst one we ever made, but we've gotten better at it. So I think in a spirit of good faith and cooperation, I would be very supportive of approaching Dell and asking if they and the IDB would be willing to revisit that. And hopefully we would be successful, I think, if we do that in a spirit of cooperation, perhaps. So I appreciate the suggestion. I think we can follow through and make a difference, hopefully in time to be able to spend that money elsewhere. But I'm not going to support something that'll get us off on the wrong foot and maybe jeopardize the possibility to have a good outcome.
Thank you, Councilmember Allen. Councilmember Henderson, anything further? Okay. All in favor, raise your hand. 3 in favor, opposed? 6. 3 in favor, 6 against. One abstention. All right, we're on to late amendments, late filed amendments. Councilmember Hurt, you have a late filed amendment.
This is the one with NASA, or the one for the arts. So basically what I wanted to do is ask that we take $2 million from judgment and losses and put it in the Arts Commission, considering that this city basically operates off of arts, being Music City. I think our budget should reflect it. They had requested actually 1% of the school budget and Metro's budget, and I thought that that was an unrealistic amount. I wanted $10 million, but I have settled to ensure that we get at least 6, so I'm asking for $2 million that will come from judgment and losses to go to our Arts Commission so it can better reflect what that Arts Commission is and the value that we have for the commission.
Thank you. Vice Chair Gamble.
Thank you, Chair. Just a clarifying question. So is this late filed for an additional, because the substitute already includes $2 million for arts. Is this an additional $2 million?
It is an additional $2 million. They come from 2 different sources.
Thank you for that clarification.
Seeing no hands, all in favor, please raise your hand. 4 in favor, opposed.
One, two, three.
3.
Abstentions.
Any abstentions? 1, 2, 3. I got one of those. All right. 433. Lady Amendment Porterfield and Swara. Councilmember Porterfield, you're recognized. Councilmember Swara, Councilmember Porterfield. No one's here. Late amendment filed by Welch. Did you want the late filed amendment, Councilmember Welch? I apologize.
No, I withdraw.
Councilmember Withers, you recognize late amendment. Sorry, apologize. Said I had too many on there. Okay, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. After having discussion with colleagues, so far I'm decided not to offer this amendment.
All right, withdraw. All right. That takes us through all of the amendments. If y'all excuse me for 1 second. I'm sorry, y'all. We have 3 resolutions that we need to take up. They're all pay plan amendments. You've already voted on all these, but we need to take up the resolutions on these. 2023-2196, Roten, Benedict, and Porterfield adopts a new pay plan for the general employees of the Metropolitan Government, excluding employees of the Board of Health, Board of Education, Police, and Fire Departments, effective July 1, 2023. Can I get a motion? Move, properly seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? You approve? Second resolution, 2023-2197, Roten, Benedict, Syracuse, and Hurt adopts a new pay plan for employees of the Metropolitan Department of Fire, Police, and Fire effective July 21, 2023. Move, properly seconded. All in favor? Aye, you approve. 15 in favor, 0 against. Item number 6 on the resolution agenda, 2023-2246, authorizes the adoption of rules, regulations, and forms to be used by the Metropolitan Government in the collection of the privilege tax at the National Museum of African American Museum. Motion moved, properly seconded. All in favor? You approve. 15 in favor, 0 against. Which one? I'm sorry.
46.
We have 2 items left on the second. 2023, I'm sorry, on third. 2023-1868, Roten and Gamble establishes the tax levy in the General Services District for the fiscal year 2023-2024 and declares the amount required for the annual operating budget of the Urban Services District pursuant to Section 6.07 of the Metropolitan Charter. Moved, properly seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? You approve. 15 in favor, 0 against. Last item on the agenda. 2023-1873 by Roten, All right, here we go. Creates the positions of Accounts Payable Specialist 1, Accounts Payable Specialist 2, Accounts Payable Specialist 3, Attorney 1, Attorney 2, Attorney 3, Attorney 4, Behavioral Services Coordinator, Collection Specialist 1, Collection Specialist 2, Collection Specialist 3, Collection Specialist 4, Crime Lab DNA Technical Lead, Crime Lab Forensic Scientist 4, Data Compliance Technician, Extension Deputy Director, Homeless Services Director, Industrial Maintenance Manager, Payroll Analyst 1, Payroll Analyst 2, Payroll Analyst 1, Payroll Specialist 1, Payroll Specialist 2, Skilled Craft Leader, and Transportation Administrator. Moved, properly seconded. All in favor? 15 in favor, 0 against. Y'all, real quick, I just want to thank everybody that helped me with the budget this year. I had Bob Mendez, Berkeley Allen, Quante, and most importantly, my vice chair. She, you don't know how much she helped me this year when I was out with my back and then I was out sick. Y'all, she did a great job, and so she's been with me every step of the way. So I appreciate it. Thank y'all very much. Oh. I didn't want to leave out Director Flannery and Margaret and everybody in budget, because in finance, y'all did a good job. Thank y'all.